If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new album in the description. We gotta talk about this new Kendrick Lamar album again, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, because there have, of course, been a lot of speculations, a lot of rumors, a lot of thoughts and theories out there ever since he announced this thing 2 days ago on April 18th through his Oklama.com website. On there, he announced obviously the title of this album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and also the release date, which is May 13th, 2022, obviously. Kind of ironic, I noticed this afterwards, but it's a Friday the 13th. Maybe some symbolic meaning for Kendrick in there. Anyway, today I wanted to focus on the question whether this is actually the last album on TDE that he so famously proclaimed he was working on in that statement. All of this we're gonna, kind of deep dive into today, and I'm gonna give y'all my theory on this. So let's jump straight into this. So the thing that I just referenced was that letter, or that little, statement he released on the website of Oklama.com, where you can also find all the information about this new album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, as it releases. I think this is genius because this way he has his own website about all the information. Anyway, in this statement that he posted on August 20th, 2021, he, and we don't gotta go through the whole thing, but a paragraph on there reads, "As I produce my final TDE album, I feel joy to have been a part of such a cultural imprint after 17 years. He also ends this paragraph with, "As I continue to pursue my life's calling." So in here he's announcing that the album he's working on at that point, which was August 2021, so already quite some time ago, that was 9 months ago, was the last album on TDE. Like TDE, that is such a huge part of Kendrick's identity. He's the face of TDE. He made TDE. He is TDE. So it's really, it was surprising to see Kendrick say that this was going to be his final album under TDE. So of course, when the announcement came that he was going to drop Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers in form of this press release that also released to the same site, we all thought that this was going to be the last record under TDE. But let's actually look at this press release, that he didn't like the Michael Jordan type style that a lot of artists like to do nowadays. So let's read through this again. It says at the top, PG Lang, The Language Enterprises, from the desk of Oklama for immediate release. Los Angeles, California, April 18th, 2022. The following statement was released today by Oklama through his company PG Lang at 11 a.m. Pacific Time in Los Angeles, California. Album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, release date, May 13th, 2022. All factual information for this release will come directly from this source only. Appreciate your patience. So, I even said this in the other video, and I said that I was going to make this video following up to it. There is no word of TDE in this document, and when you kind of read through this, we have the PG Lang logo at the top. We have from the desk of Oklama. Oklama seems to be this character or alter ego from Kendrick that, for example, was also starring in the Family Ties video with Baby Keem, who is also signed to PG Lang to, kind of get that out of the way as well. His cousin, obviously, as well, but they are working together on PG Lang. PG Lang is this kind of creative collective that isn't just working on music. I think they'll do fashion as well, do film, do all of that. And that is also the company, so PG Lang, that people expect him to focus on after he leaves TDE. So my guess was always he's gonna drop a final album under TDE, and then he'll drop more albums under PG Lang, just maybe creatively different. And so also when you continue reading this press release, it says the statement was released today by Oklama. Oklama seems to be the alter ego or character connected with PG Lang. Under TDE, it's Kendrick Lamar. Under PG Lang, it's Oklama. And it also says released through his company PG Lang. Again, not Top Dog, TDE. And nowhere in this document is even signed with, Oklama, and at the top it says PG Lang. This is a PG Lang document. It's not concerning TDE. So from this already, y'all can kind of see where I'm going with this. This new album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, is not his final TDE album. This is just a smaller, or maybe not smaller, but just a side project under PG Lang. Doesn't have to be side, but I'm just saying like not main TDE, last TDE type style. And the final TDE album will still come later on, but this is the PG Lang record first, maybe to get us used to him doing stuff differently under PG Lang. Of course, there are also a bunch of other theories out there. For example, my man Royce also commented under the last video saying the album will probably be a double album. The first half will probably be Mr. Morale, which will be the TDE side, and then the Big Steppers will probably be the PG Lang side. Also, Kodak Black may feature, considering his producer posted the announcement with this emoji. We're going to go into the features and the track list and all of that in a future video, because there are a bunch of artists and producers already confirmed to be on this record, but we're going to get into that in a couple of days more, deep. But he said that this is going to be a double album. First side TDE, second side the Big Steppers. I don't fully subscribe to this theory. I think the title Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is itself the title, and it's it kind of sounds like a 60s band or something like that. I think that's what NFR podcast said. They listed a couple of examples for this as well. So I think that is the full title, not to be taken literally like Mr. Morale first side, Big Stepper second side. But this again proves that something is not, fully TDE on this record. There is some PG Lang inspired stuff on here, and I am going to the extreme and saying this, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is not the final TDE record. That will still come, I don't know, later on this year or next year. But this is a PG Lang record that he does outside of TDE. Obviously, he's also performing at a couple of festivals this summer in London, in Glastonbury, for example, and then also Milan in Italy, where in June and July, where he will be, performing this album, and then also Rolling Loud in July. So this kind of goes against this, because obviously they're telling us that he's going to perform tracks from the much anticipated album, but the much anticipated album doesn't have to be the TDE album. It could just be his next album, you feel me? Because we've all been waiting for this. So this is my theory on this one, kind of going over that comment from Royce, and also the statement we got from Kendrick himself, or Oklama in this case, where no TDE was mentioned at all. So I'm saying Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is a PG Lang record and not the final TDE album. Obviously, this is just my theory. I think it's very interesting to talk about this and discuss this, and I would love to hear what y'all got to say about this. What are your thoughts on this? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? What are your opinions and theories on this? I think it's very interesting to start a conversation like this, so I really appreciate if y'all would join in the comments. So all your thoughts, theories, and opinions, please let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and y'all take care.